while I don't think anybody in any country can follow blindly any of these examples, it's really to think about what they did and see whether there's a lesson there for you that you might apply to your film. Now, sometimes people say to me, well, these things work in the United States, but they don't work in other countries. And so I have two comments on that. One, I was in Australia last fall. I go to Australia every year, and I talk to emerging filmmakers there. And it used to be that people say, oh, yeah, that works in the States, house parties in the States. They'll never work in our small country. So when I was there last fall, two filmmakers who had been hearing me over the years talk about changing distribution had started to apply these ideas in Australia and had been having a lot of success. So that was really encouraging. So you have to figure out in terms of your own possibilities in Mexico what can work and what doesn't work. And the other comment I would make is that if the U.S. is an important market for you, even the things that won't work in Mexico that I'm telling you about can work in the United States. So I think about where they're relevant in terms of your project. Okay, so we're going to start with a film called Faster. And the films I'm going to show you, they're mostly documentaries, there's some features, and that's because the documentary filmmakers have been out in front in terms of using these new routes, but fiction filmmakers are starting to use them more. So I think it can work in both cases. And the first film is Faster. Faster is a documentary about MotoGP. So motorcycle racing, which when the people knocked on my door in 2003, I'd never heard of MotoGP. And the filmmaker said to me, there's a core audience for this movie all around the world. Now, people know I like core audiences, and if there's a bowling scene in a movie, they say every bowler is going to buy this movie. And I can be a little skeptical, but in this case I thought, well, okay, maybe this is true. This was in April of 2003, and they were going to go to the Cannes Film Market the next month in May, and they said, then we're going to get a lot of publicity for our film. They'd never been to Cannes before, and I said, well, you and 1,500 other filmmakers are going to be trying to get a lot of publicity for your film. And they said, no, we're going to do it. So I was persuaded to be a producer's rep for them and to help them sell the movie. And when we got to Cannes, it turned out that they did the best publicity stunt at Cannes that year. They had the world's leading motorcycle racers in Cannes ride these monster motorcycles down the Croisette. You could hear these motorcycles 6 blocks away. They were so loud. So they're riding down the Croisette and up the hotel, up the driveway of the Majestic Hotel. There are like 30 still photographers there and news crews. And within 24 hours, MotoGP fans around the world heard there was this new movie called Faster. And so there was that kind of instant awareness that spread online. And so they find their way to the website, and when they got to the website, this is what they saw. So maybe we can turn the lights down.
The race never ends. A week after the last Grand Prix of the year, in early November, the teams are out testing for next season. Lap after lap, knees on the ground in the corners, 200 miles an hour down the straights, looking for a little extra speed. They're crazy. They're going to kill themselves. Maybe. But what about the buzz? The babes?